Yes, I have no fear, but she don't fear this year. Yes, I have no fear, but she don't Yes, I have no fear, but she don't fear this year. Yes, I have no fear, but she don't Yes, I have no fear, but she don't fear this year. Yes, I have no fear, but she don't Yes, I have no fear, but she don't fear this year. Yes, I have no fear, but she don't fear.
Yes, sir.
I think this is the best lecture we ever did.
That's what I like to hear. All right, big dog, hit me with it.
So, can you get a ban from this server? Are you banning people?
I have had to ban someone earlier this week for showing nudity.
And for the talking, you're not going to read it.
Um, yeah, if somebody comes in, some people think it's funny to come in and just go N-word, 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 until I kick them out. So yeah, people get banned for that. That's how people like to spend their time online. So that's what happens.
What if you can ban you can ban for life or you get banned for some time? How this works?
I have an appeal server, so anyone who gets banned can appeal, and I can let them right back in. I get some people who are like, "Hey, apologies, I was um, immature. Can you let me back in?" Or some people are like, "Hey, I was drunk and I was just being stupid online." And then I get some people who are, they'll be like, "Hey, I was 17 and I used to just ban anybody who wasn't 18. Now I just ask them to leave nicely. But they'd be like, I was 17, but now I'm 18. Can you let me back in?" And I let them back in. Did that answer your question?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and that was the best question you ever had.
I have. All right. In 22 minutes, big guys. Excellent, sir.
Okay. Oh yeah, yes I have no fear, but she don't fear the share. Yes I have no fear, but she will be. Oh yeah, yes I have no fear, but she don't fear the share. Yes I have no fear, but she will be. Oh yeah, yes I have no fear, but she don't fear the share. Yes I have no fear, but she will be. Oh yeah, yes I have no fear, but she don't fear the share. Yes I have no fear, but she will be. Oh yeah, yes I'll have no fear, for she don't fear this year. Yes I'll have no fear, for she will be here this year. Hey mama, hey mama, she got now, hey mama, she got now, we don't run away. Hey mama, she got now, she got now, we don't run away. Yes I'll have no fear, for she will be here this year. Yes I'll have no fear, for she will be here this year. Hey mama, she got now. Oh yeah, yes I'll have no fear, for she don't fear this year. Yes I'll have no fear, for she will be here this year. Hey mama, hey mama, she got now, hey mama, she got now, we don't run away. Hey mama, she got now, she got now, we don't run away. Yes I'll have no fear, for she will be here this year. Yes I'll have no fear, for she will be here this year. Hey mama, she got now, hey mama, she got now, hey mama, she got now, we don't run away. Hey mama, she got now, hey mama, she got now, hey mama, she got now, we don't run Hey mama, she got now, hey mama, she got now, hey. Oh yeah, yes I'll have no fear, for she don't fear this year. Yes I'll have no fear, for she will be here this year. Hey mama, hey mama, she got now, hey mama, she got now, we don't run away. Hey mama, she got now, she got now, we don't run away. Yes I'll have no fear, for she will be here this year. Yes I'll have no fear, for she will be here this year. Hey mama, she got now, hey mama, she got now, hey mama, she got now, we don't run away. Hey mama, she got now, hey mama, she got now, hey mama, she got now, we don't run Hey mama, she got now, hey mama, she got now, oh yeah, yes I'll have no fear, for she don't fear this year. Yes I'll have no fear, for she will be here this year. Hey mama, hey mama, she got now, hey mama, she got now, we don't run away. Hey mama, she got now, she got now, we don't run away. Yes I'll have no fear, for she will be here this year. Yes I'll have no fear, for she will be here this year. Hey mama, she got now, hey mama, she got now, hey mama, she got now, we don't run away. Hey mama, she got now, hey mama, she got now, hey mama, she got now, we don't run Hey mama, she got now, hey mama, she got now, oh yeah, yes I'll have no fear, for she In fact, one such example of angelic quasi-gematria is kind of a detour to the revelation of the word Volan, first key in the word of truth, and the locational values are at one point called the mystical root, and then they're called the square of the philosopher's word, which confuses the ever-careful mathematician. The angels, perhaps red-faced, confusing squares and roots, just split the difference. It's square root. To me, one of the most comical sections of the angel diaries, even more than when they mess up their Latin or go for treasure. I mean, whoever said angels had to be good at math, they were liberal arts majors. Of course, nothing is as funny as their buried treasure escapades, and yes, those escapades are going to get their own episode at some point. You know that I love the giant buried treasure eagle of the angelic diaries. Regardless, the unitive link of numbers, letters, and ontology are perfectly at home in this twilight of radical realism. Though, I suspect the large, inexplicable numbers here could just as well be Kelly using them as subterfuge to hide his, let's call it celestial cribbing. Regardless, just as with the painstaking revelation of the Liber Loga, the process of the revelation of the keys would eventually be expedited to forward order, with Kelly apparently fluidly speaking in the angelic language during his trance states, with the English sense provided later. So what are these keys? What are the Enochian calls? Briefly, they are psalm-like texts of apocalyptic divine pronouncements and angelic quasi-invocations. They range in length from the 30th being about 180 words to the shortest, 15, hardly even 30, really only about 19 if you don't include the final refrain, move and show yourselves, open the mysteries of your creation, be friendly unto me, for I am the servant of God, the true worshiper of the highest, which is actually appended to calls 11 through 18 by angelic command for various reasons. The calls, because of their brevity and utter strangeness, are highly resistant to summary, so I'm not even going to attempt to summarize them here. They're best just to read, and considering that in total they're only a couple thousand words, it takes only about 10 or 15 minutes to read them all, not that reading them will make anything clearer to you. Though recall my introduction to the episode, these keys, like the Liber Loga, are exercises in radical linguistic realism, such that each letter signifieth the member of the substance whereof it speaketh. Each word signifieth the quiddity of that substance. This is the kind of thing you might hear in Duns Scotus. But just as a Liber Loga is somehow thought to be reality itself in alphanumeric form, the keys are said to be the life of motion which animates pure being into becoming. They are what activates the pure potential of the tables of the Liber Loci as per pretty classic medieval Aristotelian physics. Further, the calls are said to touch on all parts of the world with which you can do anything, thus connecting into the later parts of the world revelations in which the entire magical system can be used as a kind of remote viewing platform and angelically powered international espionage. Yes, international espionage. Why isn't this a movie? I'm serious. Angelically powered international espionage using the language of creation, and you also kind of get the apocalypse there in the wings. You have D rebuking a sitting emperor because the angels basically told him to do it. And of course, you have the wife swapping business later on. Hey, Robert Eggers, you gotta get your people to call me, and we gotta make this John D. Remote viewing aside, the calls are specifically required for opening the tables of the Liber Loci in the process of ascending or descending, as the Merkabah tradition has it, from the Aether Lil down to the fourfold Aether of text, probably resulting in some kind of Gnostic-like experience of divine revelation. Of course, we don't know, at least not from the journals left by D. and Kelly, because neither D nor Kelly ever seemed to complete the complex Chabofal or Kabofal ritual, so the jury's kind of out about what exactly all of this is supposed to do. We do learn a bit about the individual calls, at least some of them, often in kind of asides by the angels. For instance, we do get confirmation that call 1 is meant for table 2, or table 1 is locked, though perhaps with the exception of that really weird string of letters by Navash that we mentioned earlier. Further, call 1 invokes the kings and ministers of government, though this is perhaps a reference to celestial or planetary beings, but it could just as well be actual rulers on the earth in this espionage business. Key 3 and perhaps the corresponding fourth table seem to be related to the incarnation of human beings into our physical bodies. The key of the 30 Aethers invokes the spirits of the air, which are typically identified as kind of quasi-demonic in many wars of this time. Recall that Chick of the Skull was actually burned for his kind of astral necromancy, though the usual Navash makes it clear that they are not rejected, but dignified. Again, calls 19 through 49 are all identical, except for the change of the name of the specific Aether in the first line of the invocation. Aside from these brief asides, we know very little as to the exact meaning of these calls. Filled with angels, directions, geometric angles, oddly specific numbers, and descriptions of apocalyptic violence, they remain as inspiring and frightening as they are poetic and alluring. So what can we say about the language of the calls? From a mathematical linguistic angle at least, the language of Table 1 of the Liber Loci and the calls are actually distinct, but not totally unrelated. Recall that the Liber Loci can slip into glossolalia-like strings of letters, where the call language never appears to do that. Further, some words or word-like clusters from Liber Loci do seem to reappear in the calls, and they typically are very short words. Just what the relationship is between the two, if any, remains completely mysterious. The sample size of the call language is so small compared to that of the Liber Loci, in fact, much smaller. Table 1 of the Liber Loci contains about 4,800 words, while the call language is less than half that size at about 1,070 words, and really only about 250 if you don't count the repetitions. As you can imagine, with a poverty of sample size, deriving any sure linguistic features from the calls is extremely challenging. That said, the call language does have apparent linguistic features, including non-random words, syntax, morphology, numerals, even hints at verb conjugations and noun declensions. In short, it appears language-like, but let's add a caveat. I really mean a mountain of caveats, obviously, but let's specify one here. The calls are never really translated into English in a word-to-word analytic form. Rather, they're given as English sense by the angels. In fact, this sense is responsible for the interpolation of many adjectives into the otherwise very adjective-poor language of the calls. What more can we say about the linguistics of the Enochian language? Phonologically speaking, the language appears quite similar to early modern English. Like the language of the Libra Yoga, it doesn't seem to betray any sounds outside of that very specific phonemic range. While there are unusual consonant and vowel clusters, at least when compared to English, many of those are pretty adequately described by the phonetic clues left in the diaries by D. Of course, any phonological study of the celestial speech as it's preserved in D's early modern English would need to be placed into that context of pronunciation, and especially that all of this is actually happening in the midst of the great vowel shift. Generally speaking, the language seems to be based on a collection of very brief
Hey everybody,
which are mutated with
did you know
and infixes to provide grammatical.
that you were supposed to be here 6 minutes ago?
I know.
Okay, what
I know.
happened?
And I was texting you. I was in the bathroom. I was texting you.
Did you text me?
Yes. Like 3 minutes ago, 2 minutes ago.
Okay, why didn't you text me beforehand?
Because my phone would die, and I was not having phone. Wait.
Okay, so here's the thing. You texted me this 2 minutes ago. Why didn't you just say, here's what I'm saying. I don't care. It's fine. But when we say a time, you got to be ready. You understand what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
that's not something like I'm a very understanding person, but bosses are not. Okay, and you need to be accountable. If no one teaches you accountability, well, then everybody's on Tony time and everybody's going to just do whatever they want to do. And you're not going to be successful in life with that. When you tell someone I'll be there at a certain time, you need to be there at that time, if not early, okay?
I must be on video camera in this episode because I don't feel like on camera. I want to do it, but I'm not feeling to be on camera.
You want to just be on camera. You don't have to say anything. You'll be upset with yourself 50 years into the future if you're like, yeah, and then there was that one time because I went to the bathroom or whatever, I wasn't feeling well. Just be on camera. All you have to do is scroll. That's it. You don't have to do anything else. Okay, let's do this, big dog.
Yeah, let's go. Let's make this shit happen.
All
Let's
right.
make history remember us.
That's right. And we might even be doing 2032. You never know, dog. Okay.
So I will gonna send you links. Give me 1 minute. I need to go to my computer and I need to brush my teeth and I need to do anything because I don't want to be like looking bad.
Okay.
But like I am the man, so I need to things regardless how I'm feeling.
I don't know what you're saying. What'd you say?
I am the man and I am need to doing things and don't care if I'm sad, happy, angry. I need to do these things.
That's
Because
right.
I'm a man.
That's right, big dog. Big dog, did you send the link?
That's my teeth. Like I said.
Okay. Hey everybody, we're on Tony time. Hey Rabbi, what's Tony time? Tony time is when you do whatever you want and you make everybody wait on your time, and everybody has other things to do, but Tony doesn't care. Tony is showing absolute, complete non
I am doing this for you.
non-respect for anyone around him. He's just it's Tony time, everybody. And
I am.
hey Rabbi, what time is Tony time? Well, let's say we were gonna meet at 12 o'clock. Yeah. When normal people would want to meet at 12 o'clock, Tony time means we're gonna meet at maybe 12:06. Maybe Tony's gotta go to the bathroom, maybe Tony's gotta brush his teeth, maybe Tony's gotta stretch, maybe Tony's gotta eat. It's whatever time Tony wants. Oh, okay, Rabbi. Why does Tony do things on his time? Because he hasn't learned accountability. He will learn accountability someday, and then he will recognize that, hey, this is what you got to do. You got to get all that stuff done in advance. I'm just playing with you, but I'm teaching you a lesson as well, that you want to be accountable. Do you know what the word accountability means?
I know.
What's it mean?
It means I am on time.
Yeah.
And every time.
That's exactly right, my man.
And everybody now thinks I am a horrible person.
No, nobody thinks you're a horrible person. They just recognize that Tony, if Tony has to understand, women want mature men, and not having accountability is a sign of immaturity. So we're teaching Tony accountability, and so how should have this been done? How did I have it done? Well, I was keeping an eye on the clock, and I saw, all right, there's about 10 minutes until we're supposed to meet. So I got my computer ready, I got my pages open, I turned on my light, I put on my jacket, I went to the bathroom, I got my water, and then I looked and there was about 2 minutes left. And then I put my computer down, I got my headphones, and I was ready to go. Now, does that mean that like immediately, exactly? Like, no, I mean, we have some understanding, but that's how you should be.
I am doing things for you.
This is not
because
for me.
You don't want to.
This is not for me.
To my teeth.
This. Okay, that's fine. This is for both of us. It's Tony time. 13 minutes after we were supposed to start. Tony's down.
I'm not mood in the jokes.
You're not
I'm
what?
sorry, I'm not mood.
You're not
I'm not in mood.
What do you mean?
I'm not in mood to get the jokes. I'm not.
That's okay. You don't have to be on the mood to get a job right now. You have to be in the mood to send me a link to join.
I know. I'm.
What Tony needs to understand is that the sooner I get a link, the sooner I stop singing the Tony accountability song. This is the Tony accountability song. When Tony says that they will be there at top of the hour, you should just know for Tony that's 10:14 or whatever time it is for you. Don't worry, there are other people who are like this, and you just recognize that if you're at work and they say be there at noon, you're there at noon or a little early. If you do things the way they
I send you the fucking link.
Okay, here we go, folks. Now, let's say I tried to get in the link and something went wrong with my computer. Unexpected. Then we say, hey, we understand. Unexpected things happen, but like brushing your teeth and going to the bathroom, I would understand if you're like, Rabbi, I was really rushed. But you weren't. You came in here and you were like, why do you ban people? I mean, like, I know that you were just chilling. Okay.
But that was the best
Listen,
question you ever had.
listen. You need to email me the link, please.
Okay.
You always email me the link.
Okay.
But I'm not going to get upset because you tried.
Yeah, I tried. I tried. I tried.
Exactly. Did you text that girl?
No, that.
Okay, well, you should have done that.
But I will do like bro. Can we go to the work, please? I send it to.
Okay. Do you want to text that girl?
But not now.
Okay.
Not now.
You emailed it?
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah. Man.
2030. All right, big
I
dog.
man.
Okay, I'm gonna mute you. Oh, fudge.
Okay.
I'm gonna mute you here, and I'm gonna join the call in a moment. Because not even Rabbi was ready. Not even Rabbi was ready. Rabbi needs to adjust their camera. Rabbi, why are you giving Tony so much BS, but you don't even have your camera ready? Because it takes me 20 seconds to get my computer ready, and it takes Tony 17 minutes to get everything ready. Oh, but what's good for the goose is good for the gander. You should be fair. All right. We are going to join Tony's call in less than 1 minute. Put a timer on the clock, folks. Here we go. Tony. Can you hear me? Tony, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Okay, yesterday you asked me for something. Do you remember for what you asked me? You asked me for a headshot. And did you use it? You asked me for a headshot, a picture of myself. And I sent it to you. And did you use it? What do you mean not yet? You already put out the thumbnail. That doesn't look like me. I mean, that's not me, but I sent you my headshot. You should use the headshot that I sent you. You know what a headshot is? It's a picture of your head. That's okay. That's okay. Can you hear me? No worries. I understand more than anybody in the world about disconnects, so don't worry. 2031 and maybe 2032. I know I am. I know I am. All right, I'm ready when you are. No, you're not. No, you're not. No, you're not. No, we just say welcome to 2031 and we go into it. I'm ready when you are. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Welcome to 2031. 2031 will be a common year starting on Wednesday of the Gregorian calendar, the 2031st day of the Common Era, the 31st year of the third millennium and the 21st century, and the second year of the 2030s decade. The predicted and scheduled events on January 1st, assuming no further extensions to the term of copyrights become law in the interim, books, films, and other works by authors who died in 1960 will enter the public domain in the United Kingdom, the European Union, and some other jurisdictions. Those published in 1935 will enter the public domain in the United States. January, NASA plans to deorbit the International Space Station, directing any unbroken remnants into Point Nemo in the South Pacific Ocean. January as well, the 2031 World Men's Handball Championship will be held in Denmark, Iceland, and Norway. March 31st, the 2030 World Expo will be closed in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. April 5th, Comet Bernard, Bernardinelli Bernstein will make its closest approach to Earth at a distance of 10.1 astronomical units, 1.5 billion kilometers, or 940 million miles. On May 1st, there will be the 100th anniversary of the Empire State Building. In June, Veritas, a mission by NASA to map the surface of Venus, will be launched. In July, the Jupiter Icy Moons Explorer, JUICE, will reach Jupiter. August 29th through September 14th, the 2031 FIBA Basketball World Cup will be held in France. From September to October, the 2031 Rugby World Cup will be held in the United States. From October to November, the 2031 Cricket World Cup will be held in India. October 29th, Transit of Venus from Uranus. December 12th, Virgin of Guadalupe celebrates its 500th year anniversary. December 17th, transit of Earth from Uranus. December, Envision, the ESA orbital mission to Venus will be launched. Unknown dates that are planned for 2031: 2 World Trade Center, also known as 200 Greenwich Street, gets finished. The 22nd Pan American Games will be held. The 2031 Women's World Cup will be held in the United States, Mexico, and other CONCACAF members. The 2031 AFC Asian Cup will be held. In Kazakhstan, the switch of the writing script of the Kazakh language from the Cyrillic alphabet to the Latin alphabet is scheduled to be fully implemented by 2031. Formula One is targeting the return of V8 engines by approval from engine manufacturers by 2031 or as early as 2030, and general elections are scheduled to be held in Nigeria. From a publishing standpoint, in 2031, The Bride of Frankenstein will be made public domain, or is planned to be made public domain in 2031. And moving into our timeline, from 2031 to 2045, Cargo Sue train becomes operational in Switzerland. From 2031 to 2035, Jupiter icy moons. I am reading our timeline. I said, and moving into our timeline. And moving into our timeline, 2031 timeline contents. 2031 to 2045, Cargo Sue terrain becomes operational in Switzerland. 2031 to 2035, Jupiter Icy Moons Explorer, JUICE explores the Jovian system. 2031 to 2032, China completes its Guowen and Qianban mega constellations. 2031, generative AI is a $1 trillion market. The International Space Station is deorbited. Europe's first lunar lander, Da Vinci Plus, lands on Venus. Second World Two World Trade Center completes the rebuilding of Ground Zero. Completion of the Stad Ship Tunnel. India has begun phasing out hydrofluorocarbons (HFCs). Much of Bangkok is being abandoned due to flooding. Perennial wheat and corn are becoming profitable. Stem cell pharmacies are commonplace. Married couples are a minority in the United Kingdom. Chocolate is becoming a rare luxury. And the final Avatar movie is planned for release. Perhaps the final one. 2031 to 2045. Cargo Suez train becomes operational in Switzerland. Cargo Suez train terrain CST is an underground automated system of freight transport that becomes operational in Switzerland from 2031 onwards. It is designed to mitigate the increasing problem of road traffic, which has grown by 45% in the region since the mid 2010s. This tube network, including the self driving carts and transfer stations, is built at a cost of $35 billion and is privately financed. The first section runs from Harkingen Niederbipp to Zurich and is around 70 kilometers or 43 miles in length, with 10 hubs between the two regions. This is followed by additional tunnel sections and 80 hubs, eventually spanning the entire width of the country by 2045. Above ground way stations with vertical lifts enable the rapid transfer of cargo. Each vehicle is refrigeration compatible, meaning that fresh and chilled goods can be handled, such as food and medical supplies, as well as deliveries from production and logistics sites to urban centers. The CST can be used for the movement of recycling and waste products. The entire project is powered by renewables. The vehicles are propelled by electromagnetic induction and run at 19 miles per hour or 30 kilometers per hour, operating for 24 hours a day, which includes fully automated loading and unloading. An additional monorail system for carrying packages in the roof of the tunnel moves at twice this speed. Cargo suit terrain allows goods to be delivered more efficiently as at more regular intervals while cutting both air and noise pollution, as well as reducing the burden of traffic on overground roads and freight trains. The next event that we anticipate occurring from 2031 to 2035 is Jupiter Icy Moons Explorer, JUICE, explores the Jovian system. Jupiter Icy Moons Explorer, JUICE, is a mission by the European Space Agency to explore the Jovian system, focusing on the moons Ganymede, Callisto, and Europa. Launched in 2023, the craft goes through four gravity assists: Earth, Venus, Earth, Earth, before reaching Jupiter in 2031. For its primary objective, the probe performs a series of flybys around some of the largest Galilean moons, Ganymede, Callisto, and Europa, all of which are believed to hold subsurface liquid water oceans. As a secondary objective, it also studies Jupiter's atmosphere and magnetosphere, gaining valuable insight into how the gas giant might have originally formed. The main science goals for Ganymede, and to a lesser extent for Callisto, are characterization of the ocean layers and detection of putative subsurface water reservoirs, topographical, geological, and compositional mapping of the surface, study of the physical properties of the icy crusts, characterization of the internal mass distribution, dynamics, and evolution of the interiors, investigation of Ganymede's tenuous atmosphere, study of Ganymede's intrinsic magnetic field and its interaction with the Jovian magnetosphere. For Europa, the focus is on the chemistry essential to life, including organic molecules, and on understanding the formation of surface features and the composition of non-water ice material. Furthermore, JUICE provides the first subsurface sounding of the Moon, including the first determination of the minimal thickness of the icy crust over the most recently active regions. JUICE begins at Ganymede, the largest moon in the solar system, which it swings past at close range in July 2031. Several hours after this maneuver, it prepares the orbital insertion at Jupiter itself. This highly elongated first orbit is followed by another Ganymede flyby, then further studies of Jupiter with orbits around the planet becoming less elongated and more circular. JUICE flies past Europa in July 2032 and Callisto in the same month. It then begins a high inclination phase to allow exploration of Jupiter's polar regions and to study the gas giant's magnetosphere. It also observes moon transits, i.e., moons and their shadows, as they pass in front of Jupiter. In December 2034, the spacecraft returns to Ganymede and enters into orbit as opposed to a flyby, becoming the first spacecraft to orbit a moon other than Earth's moon. This complicated maneuver allows it to come within 500 kilometers or 310 miles, returning very close range images of the surface. It also features a laser altimeter with 20 meter 66 feet spot size and 10 centimeter 3.9 inches vertical resolution, revealing tidal deformations of Ganymede. With the fuel running out, JUICE is deorbited and impacts the surface of Ganymede in late 2035. This mission, among ESA's most significant of recent years, provides a wealth of empirical data and new insights into the Jovian system, as well as improving the general scientific understanding of the Galilean moons. JUICE also enables mission planners to determine potential landing sites for surface probes in the future. Indeed, preparations are now getting underway to further explore Europa in the 2035 to 2050 timeframe. From 2031 to 2032, China completes its Guangwang and Qianfan megaconstellations. By the end of this period, China has finished deploying two vast satellite networks, Guowang and Qianfan, which together reshape the country's position in global space infrastructure. Guowang, operated by state-owned company Satnet, achieves its planned total of 12,992 satellites in low Earth orbit in 2031. Qianfan, managed by Shanghai Spacecom Satellite Technology (SSST), with support from Shanghai Municipal Government and the Chinese Academy of Sciences, grows to over 14,000 satellites by 2032. Although developed under different institutional frameworks, one central and state controlled, the other commercially driven with regional backing, both constellations support China's broader strategy to deliver nationwide digital coverage, ensure secure communications, and expand strategic autonomy in space. Guangwang began deployment with a 10-satellite launch in December 2024. In response to the perceived strategic threat posed by Starlink, China's government orchestrated a surge in constellation launches during 2025 and 2026, backed by state directives and supported by national and commercial launch providers. Medium and heavy lift vehicles, including the Long March 5B and newer Long March 12, enabled the satellite network to rapidly scale up. Beijing-based company Landspace added momentum to the effort with the introduction of its methane-fueled Zhu-3, whose reusable first stage helped reduce launch costs and turnaround times. By the end of 2026, China had put 2,800 Guowang satellites into orbit. Over the next 5 years, the launch cadence grew dramatically, adding more than 10,000 and completing the full mega-constellation of 12,992 satellites. This allowed China to meet its deployment schedule and remain ahead of the regulatory deadline. With near global coverage, it established China as a direct rival to Western-controlled orbital infrastructure. Qianfan, the sister constellation, began deployment in August 2024 when a Long March 6A delivered the first 18 satellites. A series of additional launches met the widely publicized goal of 648 satellites by December 2025. Halfway through the 1,296 satellite phase 1. From 2026 onward, SSST ramped up its operations to several launches each month, using the medium lift Long March 6A and Long March 8, the latter with a reusable variant in development, alongside the partially reusable Zoop 3, which offered a payload capacity comparable to SpaceX's Falcon 9. These efforts pushed the cumulative total above 5,000 satellites in 2028 and to almost 12,000 in 2030. The constellation reaches its planned total of more than 14,000 by 2032. Together, Guangwang and Qianfan expand China's active broadband fleet to 27,000 satellites, second only to Starlink's projected 42,000 by 2033, and set the stage for Honghu 3, a planned 10,000 satellite network due in 2035 that will push China's total even higher. As part of the broader Digital Silk Road initiative, Beijing's effort to expand digital infrastructure and connectivity across developing regions, these constellations provide partner nations with a state-backed alternative to Western satellite services, reinforcing China's and geopolitical influence throughout the global south. With low Earth orbit becoming increasingly congested, China has begun to integrate electric propulsion thrusters, onboard AI guidance for collision avoidance, and dedicated deorbit systems into the latest Guangwang and Qianfan satellites. Ground controllers oversee traffic using an advanced platform designed to track tens of thousands of objects, with scalability to 100,000 satellites and beyond, a reflection of China's long-term ambitions in orbital management. Geopolitically, the completion of Jiangwang and Qianfan closes a major gap with the United States. A decade earlier, analysts had described Starlink's dominance as a strategic vulnerability for China. That vulnerability no longer exists. With both constellations now fully operational, China controls a broadband system at roughly two-thirds the size of Starlink, but matching its global ambitions. Dozens of countries now rely on Chinese satellites, either by preference or necessity, extending Beijing's influence across digital and orbital domains. Despite mounting concerns about crowding and competition in space, China's achievement brings clear benefits. Tens of millions of people now enjoy reliable, affordable internet for the first time, with potential to reach hundreds of millions more as terminal prices fall. Disaster response teams can operate with greater speed and confidence. Businesses, research institutions, and schools tap into high bandwidth tools that were previously unavailable. The completion of Jiao Wang and Qianfan marks a defining milestone in China's rise as a space power, a technological breakthrough that elevates the nation's role in global communications. It also highlights the pressing imperative for international cooperation to ensure Earth's orbital environment remains stable and accessible for future generations. The next event that we anticipate in 2031 is generative AI is becoming a $1 trillion market. The early beginnings of generative AI, a subset of artificial intelligence for creating new content or data models based on existing datasets, could be traced back to the broader evolution of neural networks and the subsequent rise of deep learning. While the foundational concepts of neural networks first emerged in the mid 20th century, it took until the 2010s for certain forms of generative AI to begin making notable strides, largely propelled by exponential advances in computational power, algorithms, and the availability of vast datasets. Generative adversarial networks, GANs, GANs, marked a major milestone in the field when first demonstrated in 2014. In a GAN, two neural networks are given a given a training set of images and then made to compete with each other to create brand new ones. This process is repeated, rapidly improving with each cycle, resulting in a final image that is often indistinguishable from an existing object, person, or scene. The public became aware of GANs via content on websites like "This person does not exist," which created realistic human faces. Even greater advancements emerged with large language models (LLMs), such as the GPT series. With 175 billion parameters, GPT-3 demonstrated a remarkable ability to generate human-like text across diverse tasks with minimal fine-tuning. Its versatility made it suitable for tasks ranging from writing essays to coding in various web languages. Version 3.5 became publicly available in late 2022 as ChatGPT, followed by the more powerful GPT-4. Alongside LLMs, multimodal models showed that generative AI could be applied to several different areas at the same time, combining realistic and coherent text, images, music, voices, and even video. The complexity of these models led to speculation about the arrival of the first artificial general intelligence (AGI). However, concerns also arose over the use of such technology to generate fake news and other harmful content, as well as the potential to make many traditional human jobs obsolete. In July 2023, the Screen Actors Guild, American Federation of Television and Radio Artists, SAG-AFTRA, a labor union representing 160,000 media professionals worldwide, began a strike against major TV and film studios in protest of low compensation, ownership of work, and generative AI. But the march of technology could not be stopped. With each new advance, generative AI drove down the cost of production, decreased the time required to create content, and empowered both individuals and small enterprises to access tools once exclusive to large corporations. The democratization of this technology around the globe allowed even those without specialized skills or knowledge to harness its power. In the second half of the 2020s, AI powered personal assistants became capable of generating entire new movies. With just a few simple voice commands, a film could now be made based on a user's own personal tastes and preferences. A comedy of 90 minutes duration, for example, perhaps even featuring a deepfake of the user themselves and their friends, along with specific themes or settings. Although initially a premium service, this capability declined rapidly in cost and soon led to widespread availability of personalized auto-generated movies. By 2031, the market for generative AI has seen a nearly 50-fold increase compared with a decade earlier, growing from 23 billion to over $1 trillion annually, revolutionizing industries such as entertainment, advertising, design, journalism, and gaming. Video games now frequently include AI generated narratives which adapt to a player's choices in real time. Movie scenes can be quickly and easily edited to optimize virtual actors, such as increasing or decreasing the intensity of a certain emotion without needing a real human to reenact the scene. Many schools and colleges are now integrating generative AI into curricula and courses, not just for computer science, but also creative subjects like art, literature, and music. It can also produce customized learning materials for students, catering to their pace and level of understanding. Virtual teachers can provide students with 24/7 support whenever needed. Workspaces continue to evolve, with AI increasingly prevalent as a coworker, collaborator, and tool that amplifies human creativity and productivity. It has transformed numerous other fields, including architecture, engineering, fashion, healthcare, and urban planning. To address the misuse of generative AI, for instance, uh, for example, for deepfakes, for deepfakes, many control mechanisms and ethical guidelines have now been established. This includes better detection methods for AI generated content and inherent safeguards. The next event that we anticipate is the International Space Station is deorbited. The International Space Station (ISS), which first became operational in November 2000, has now reached the end of its lifespan. Originally intended to last only 15 years, it continued to defy expectations through the late 2010s and into the 2020s. Multiple extensions of the planned time in orbit, along with additional modules and upgrades, meant that it would endure for twice the length of its earlier timeline. By far the largest human-made object in space, the ISS was visible to the naked eye from Earth as it completed its 16 daily orbits, varying between 418 kilometers and 422 kilometers above the Earth's surface. With its microgravity environment, the ISS yielded breakthroughs in medicine and biotechnology, material science, and other areas of research. It helped to monitor Earth's ecosystems and natural disasters in real time. It also provided testing of future spacecraft technologies and a place to study the health effects of long-term spaceflight, essential for enabling the future human exploration of the solar system. However, the ISS accumulated damage over the long term, with solar radiation and temperature extremes gradually taking their toll. The daily expansion and contraction of materials, charring of glass, repeated docking and undocking of spacecraft all weakened the station's integrity. High-speed collisions with space junk also posed a significant and growing threat. A previous plan by NASA had proposed ending the ISS by 2028, but in 2022 the Biden administration extended this timeline to 2031. The ISS would be steered toward a remote part of the Pacific Ocean known as Point Nemo, a spacecraft graveyard and the furthest known location from civilization. In late 2030, the ISS is gently decelerated by onboard thrusters, causing its altitude to gradually decrease over the course of a few months. The final part of the descent is much faster and occurs in January 2031. As it re-enters the atmosphere, the large solar arrays are the first components to burn away, followed by the upper modules and then the remaining structure below. The ISS is 4 times the size of Mir, which underwent a similar maneuver in 2001. As of 2022, NASA had spent $3.1 billion a year on the space station program, with more than $1.3 billion going to operations of the station and research performed there, and $1.8 billion on crew and cargo transportation. The retirement of the station therefore provides major cost savings for NASA and enables the agency to focus on other areas. By 2031, commercial space platforms are replacing the ISS as a venue for scientific research and collaboration. Another major deorbit occurs the following year when China retires Tiangong, its national space station. The next event that we anticipate in 2031 is Europe's first lunar lander. For decades, Europe lagged behind other major space agencies in lunar exploration. While NASA (1966), the Soviet Union (1966), China (2013), and India (2023) all achieved successful moon landings, Europe had yet to place a single spacecraft on the. Pardon me? Absolutely. Europe's first lunar lander. For decades, Europe lagged behind other major space agencies in lunar exploration. While NASA in 1966, the Soviet Union 1966, China 2013, and India 2023 all achieved successful moon landings, Europe had yet to place a single spacecraft on the lunar surface. The European Space Agency (ESA) provided instruments and technology to international missions, but it lacked an independent lunar lander of its own. This absence became more pronounced in the 2020s as global interest in moon exploration surged with the Artemis program, China and India's expanding ambitions, and commercial ventures led by private companies. Recognizing the need for greater autonomy in space, ESA developed Argonaut, its first ever dedicated lunar lander. This would consist of three main components: a lunar descent element (LDE) for ensuring a precise journey to the Moon and soft landing, a cargo platform element serving as the interface between the lander and its mission-specific payloads, and the payload with a capacity of up to 1,500 kilograms (330 3,300 pounds). 1,500 kilograms (3,300 pounds). This modular design would allow the Argonaut to accommodate a wide range of functions, from deploying infrastructure and power systems to transporting specific instruments and rovers. In a landmark achievement, an Ariane 6 rocket launches the first Argonaut to the Moon in 2031, marking Europe's entry into surface operations. This mission, known as Argonet, focuses on establishing critical infrastructure in the lunar southern region. It delivers dedicated navigation and telecommunication payloads, along with energy generation and storage systems, laying the groundwork for future explorations and sustained operations. Notably, Argonaut is engineered to endure the Moon's extreme environmental conditions for extended periods, including the harsh 14-day lunar night, where temperatures can plummet to as low as negative 150 degrees Celsius. Its robust design ensures operational longevity, with the capability to survive for up to 5 years. Its design is also versatile enough to enable landings in any region, pinpointing locations to within 50-meter accuracy, potentially allowing samples to be analyzed from previously unexplored and hard to reach areas of the Moon. Additional missions with Argonaut landers occur approximately every 2 years throughout the 2030s. These aim to expand Europe's role in lunar exploration, such as delivering more complex payloads, supporting international partnerships, for instance with NASA's Artemis program, and helping to establish a long-term human presence on the Moon. The next event that we anticipate is Da Vinci Plus landing on the Moon. Da Vinci Plus is a robotic spacecraft sent to investigate the atmosphere of Venus as part of NASA's Discovery program. Having launched in 2029 and performed a series of flybys, it deploys a lander in 2031, the first since NASA's Pioneer Venus in 1978 and the USSR's Vega in 1985. During its 63-minute descent by parachute, this sphere-shaped probe samples the air, taking measurements of its chemical composition and other properties down to the surface. This data, 10 times more detailed than any previous mission, helps in understanding the atmosphere's origin, how it has evolved over time, and how and why it is different from those of Earth and Mars. It determines the history of the water on Venus, such as the presence of oceans in the past, as well as previously unknown processes at work in the lower atmosphere. Before it reaches the surface, the Da Vinci Plus probe takes the first ever high resolution photos of the planet's intriguing, rigid terrain, tesserae, to explore the origin alongside tectonic, volcanic, and weathering history. This camera, the Venus Descent Imager (VENDI), is similar to the Mars Descent Imager (MARDI) and reveals the surface of Venus in stunning, never-before-seen detail. The probe's other instruments include two spectrometers to obtain the first detailed in situ surveys of noble and trace gases and associated isotope ratios, alongside an atmospheric structure investigation to measure the dynamics of the Venusian atmosphere during entry and descent. All of these findings help scientists understand why Venus and Earth took such different paths as they matured, providing another point of comparison for studies of rocky exoplanets. A sister mission, Veritas, is also taking place at Venus during this time, with a focus on mapping and geology. The next event that we anticipate is two World Trade Center being completed at Ground Zero. 3 decades after the terrorist attacks of the 11th of September 2001, the rebuilding of Ground Zero has reached its symbolic conclusion. Two World Trade Center, the final office tower of the 16-acre World Trade Center site, is now opening as the new global headquarters of American Express. Designed by Foster Partners and developed by Silverstein Properties, the skyscraper rises 374 meters, or 1,226 feet, above 200 Greenwich Street, immediately north of the Oculus, the distinctive wing-shaped transport hub and shopping complex at the center of the rebuilt World Trade Center. Its 55 floors contain nearly 186,000 square meters, 2 million square feet of space with capacity for up to 10,000 employees. American Express is both the sole owner and occupant of the building, which stands on land owned by the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey under a long-term ground lease. The company is relocating from its previous headquarters at the nearby 200 Vesey Street, which had served as its headquarters since 1986. At street level, the new building fills the last conspicuous gap between beside the Oculus and the 9/11 Memorial. It becomes the second tallest tower in Lower Manhattan, surpassed only by the 541-meter or 1,776-foot One World Trade Center. From more distant viewpoints, it adds a major peak to Lower Manhattan, joining 1, 3, 4, and 7 World Trade Center in a descending cluster across the rebuilt complex. Its broad, stepped profile gives it a commanding presence, particularly when viewed from the Hudson River and New Jersey, where the previously incomplete eastern side of the complex now appears fully developed. The tower consists of several slender, interlocking glass volumes that step back as they rise. These setbacks create three terraces and six corner gardens, providing more than an acre of outdoor space with panoramic views across Manhattan and the surrounding waterways. Greenery is integrated throughout the vertical workplace, alongside flexible offices, communal facilities, and advanced smart building technology. Fully electric and designed around energy efficiency, the tower reflects the growing emphasis of employee well-being and environmental performance in corporate architecture. The project includes a long, complicated effort to complete the final office tower at Ground Zero. Earlier designs had failed to progress amid financing problems and changing office markets, while the COVID-19 pandemic added further uncertainty. American Express ultimately revived the project by committing to own and occupy the entire building. A ceremonial groundbreaking in July 2026 formally marked the start of the main construction phase. One qualification remains: the separate 5 World Trade Center site lies on the southern edge of the campus, south of Liberty Park and the Memorial Core. It sits outside the principal group of office towers surrounding the memorial. Two World Trade Center therefore completes this central office cluster and fills its final major skyline gap. For an entire generation, Ground Zero was characterized by absence, first as an enormous void, and later by construction sites, temporary structures, and unfinished plans. By 2031, it has become a fully functioning district of offices, transport, culture, public space, and remembrance, demonstrating how a city can preserve the memory of its darkest moment while continuing to build confidently towards the future. The next event that we anticipate is the completion of the Stad Ship Tunnel. The Stad Ship Tunnel is a 1.8 kilometer or 1.1 mile canal and tunnel cutting through Norway's rugged Stad Peninsula, letting ships bypass one of the coast's most dangerous stretches. The tunnel measures 49 meters or 161 feet high and 36 meters or 118 feet wide, with a water depth of 12 meters, 39 feet, handling ships up to 16,000 gross tonnage and large enough for the Hurtigruten coastal express ships. First proposed in 1874, but revived more than 130 years later, the project began construction in 2026, costing 2.7 billion kroner or US $314 million and taking about 5 years to complete. It required the removal of 8 million tons of rock to carve the passage. The official opening occurs in 2031, later than the initial 2026 estimate, but still marking the world's first full-scale ship tunnel. The tunnel operates with strict safety and traffic controls. Vessels wait at each end for clearance, using a red and white light system similar to aircraft signals. Only 5 ships an hour can pass through, maintaining safe distances of about 400 meters. Large vessels have a clearance of 2.5 meters on each side, tested in model tanks to ensure stability. Pilots guide ships longer than 70 meters, while speed limits add a further layer of safety. A typical vessel, moving at 5 knots, can pass through in about 15 minutes. Smaller recreational craft may also use the passage during designated times. The next event that we anticipate is India has begun phasing out hydrofluoric, hydrofluorocarbons, HFCs. The Montreal Protocol, signed in 1987, was an international agreement to protect the ozone layer by phasing out the production of substances responsible for ozone depletion. These included chlorofluorocarbons and hydrofluorocarbons, chlorofluorocarbons CFCs and chlorofluorocarbons, HCFCs. CFCs and HCFCs had been used in a wide range of industrial applications, such as aerospace, agriculture, air conditioning, electronics, fire protection, flexible and rigid foam, laboratory measurements, and refrigeration. Produced mostly in developed countries, hydrofluorocarbons, HFCs, began to replace CFCs and HCFCs. HFCs pose no harm to the ozone layer because, unlike CFCs and HCFCs, they did not contain chlorine. They were, however, greenhouse gases with a very high global warming potential, GWP, thousands of times greater than carbon dioxide, CO2, when measured on a per molecule basis. While their atmospheric concentration was initially very low, it began to grow rapidly in the years following the Montreal Protocol. Known as super greenhouse gases, it was feared that soaring use of HFCs combined with their high global warming potential could undercut the benefits expected from the reduction of other greenhouse gases such as carbon dioxide and methane. If left unchecked, it was calculated that HFCs could add a potentially disastrous zero point 0.5 degrees Celsius to global average temperatures by the end of the 21st century. Unlike other